I wrote 2 paragraphs, so I just read it. Yeah, okay. Okay. This course, Living Vinaya in the West, makes me recall the story of the establishment of the Chinese Bhikkhuni Sangha in 4th to 5th century in China. At that time, Chinese nuns wished to establish the Bhikkhuni Sangha, but there was no Bhikshunis who could give ordination and teach Vinaya to the Chinese nuns. Then there were Bhikshunis from the Leon Kingdom, that is now is Sri Lanka, who travels by a boat called Nanti. This boat called Nanti. They traveled to China to give the Bhikkhuni ordination and help Chinese nuns to establish Bhikkhuni Sangha. As a result, more than 300 Chinese nuns obtained twofold Bhikkhuni ordination in the Chinese Nanling Temple to establish the Bhikkhuni Sangha in 4th to 5th century. So in 21st century today, we have a very similar story about Bhikkhuni. Yet this time it's not about Chinese nuns, but Western nuns. Yeah. We have Master Wu Ying, who already 77 years old now, along with luminary light temple faculty nuns, took an international flight from Taiwan to U.S. Sravasti Abbey to give Western nuns Vinaya teaching. Before coming to this course, I know I was going to participate in an important historical moment. I knew it was a historical moment that would play a key part for the future Bhikkhuni Sangha to flourish in the West. In this Vinaya course, we learn so much. We are so grateful that we have those wonderful teachers who not just digest the Vinaya texts and translate them into English so we can understand, but also offer their yearly living experience in the Sangha, which guide our application of these precepts. We particularly feel grateful to Master Wu Ying, who explained that the precepts are particularly flexible and practical. Your big heart and compassion, as well as your open-minded and the long view, and the way you teach us make the Vinaya that was established 2,500 years ago in India can apply to contemporary society. You even make the Vinaya not just a text for people to read, but a living Vinaya which we can live even in different Buddhist traditions and cultures. In this more than 2 weeks course, we all study hard because we cherish this rare opportunity to learn the Vinaya and how to apply and adopt it. I think the way we can repay our grace is to practice and study Vinaya and apply our knowledge learned from these classes to establish and strengthen the Bhikkhuni Sangha for now and for the future. As Master Wing said, a Bhikkhuni in modern society can do everything. We will work hard to benefit the Bhikkhuni Sangha and for the Buddha Dharma to sustain forever for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you.
Paraphrasing what we've said each day, that hearing the Vinaya, studying it, and practicing it are rare and precious things. We've received a wealth of teachings and practice during this course, and I know I'm not alone in appreciation. I could speak more about that, but we know the best way to show gratitude for a teaching is to apply it. So how will we apply it well? First, by reflecting on the teachings and the Vinaya frequently. Master Wu Yin, in her first talk, noted that she came with an open mind about how we should live Vinaya in the West. And we too should keep our minds open as we explore the Vinaya in our practice. And the Buddha gave us many tools for reflection that will help to inform our practice. Now, I haven't been a Bhikkhuni very long, so I'm going to pull from the first 2 of the 10 reflections the Buddha gave monastics that were strongly a part of my novice training, and then relate it to the teachings here and what I heard others reflect on during our break time. I am no longer living according to worldly aims and values, should be reflected upon again and again by one who has gone forth. Master Wu Yin and the faculty have expressed this repeatedly. We are living according to a higher moral code, the pratimoksha, and yet we're also not separated from this world. And as we reflect, we take the whole scene into account, the monastic responsibilities and the responsibilities within the world system. My very life depends on the gifts of others, should be reflected upon again and again by one who has gone forth. And we've heard how many of the rules and procedures in the Vinaya came to be out of support, not just for our personal spiritual development, but also for the development and care of community harmony. Our Sangha's health depends on us understanding dependency, both with the community and within the larger social structure, and within the 10,000-year plan of Sravasti Abbey, and all the time and space beyond that affects all beings. So we came from different backgrounds, but we're all practicing, and these reflections belong to all of us. And as Master Wu Yin said, we can all have that dignity, go forward with serving the Dharma, and be good followers of the Buddha. There are details of precepts and karmas that differ from our traditions, but we've heard the words of the first pratimoksha that oversees the whole Vinaya several times in this course from the different teachers. And in English, this is the version I know. Abstaining from all evil, doing what is good, cleansing one's mind, this is the teaching of all the Buddhas. And in practicing this, we will show our gratitude for the teaching of the Buddha and for all the teachings in the details and in the heart of the Vinaya that we've received here from Master Wu Yin, the faculty, Venerable Chodron, and from the joy of practicing here together. In one of the afternoon sessions we heard, I only need 1% to understand, but 99% to practice. So now we show only 1% of our gratitude and respect. And the other 99% will come from us actually living the Vinaya in the West. Thank you.
I was asked to give a reflection on behalf of the Tibetan Sangha in 5 minutes about this course. I thought, that's an impossible task. And what came to mind immediately is something that Venerable Wu Yin told me when I had lunch with her one day at this table. And she said to me, you know, just relax. Take it step by step. And that teaching has just been again and again coming to me through this course. You know, like we've received so much, and the depth of what we've learned and the complexity and all the different facets of all these different karmas, and it feels sort of overwhelming at moments, like, and the profundity of what's happening here, bringing the Vinaya to this country, planting these roots of the Dharma, and it can feel sort of like an enormous and impossible task. And but when I reflect on going step by step and relaxing, it becomes much more manageable. And hearing about Venerable Wu Yin and the luminary faculty's stories about their time and their training, and Venerable Thupten Chodron's experience in creating this place, you know, it didn't happen like that. It was this years and years of having an aspiration, having a vision, and believing it could be done, and then taking step by step. And so that's something I think I am going to take away. And with Venerable Wu Yin and the luminary faculty, I, on behalf of the Tibetan Sangha and everybody here, wanted to thank you profoundly from our hearts for coming all the way here. I'm going to try not to cry. Yeah. Thank you. When I hear about everything that you do in Taiwan, that you were willing to step away from all your responsibilities and come here to teach us, it really feels very meaningful for all of us, I think. And this confidence that you have in us, and that Venerable Tutan children and all the Sravasti Abbey nuns have in us, that we can do this and that we can learn this, it's really profound. And you know, you mentioned at the beginning that in 1996, when you went to Bodh Gaya, you saw many, many very strange things. And I think many of us, I mean, it's funny, and I think many of us have experienced as becoming monastics in the Tibetan tradition as Westerners. A lot of people think we're all still strange, and there's kind of no hope, really. And despite everything you saw, you believed in us, and you were willing to come back. And I imagine that in 1996, that an ordination would happen in this country led completely by Western nuns was probably unimaginable. But we saw it. We participated in that this week and during this training. And I think it's something incredible that we can all rejoice in. And I remember at the beginning of this course, you said, I don't know if it was you or somebody in the faculty said, we really wanted to make this course experiential. And I think it has definitely been that. We have been able to experience so many of these things that we've been discussing. So being able to do the pasada together, being able to do the ordination together, being able to live together, experiencing what it's like to confess, what it's like to rejoice, what it's like to get up every day and put on our robes. Very simple things, but to shave our heads, you know, and to witness the head shaving. All of these things have been so meaningful. And I also want to say we really appreciated the humor. I know a lot of people have mentioned that, and the way that you incorporated these skits and the group discussions was really brilliant. At first, I remember personally feeling a little nervous, like, what's this going to be all about? But the skits were both very light and fun, but they also talked about something quite profound. A lot of them would point to things that were true in our experience, and to see that it was a shared experience was really meaningful. And I think Venerable Wu Yin, one of the things about you, I remember the very first day you arrived, you came and looked at all of our tables, sort of very with an eye of sort of discipline, and I thought, oh boy, 16 days. I better be on my best behavior. And I appreciated that, actually, because it's actually such a gift for somebody to care enough to look and give you correction. And but to see the way that you are able to hold that discipline and the lightheartedness, the laughter, the joy, the spontaneous teachings, the sense of ease, the imploring me to relax, that all of this you're managed to hold with such grace. And I think it's something that, for me personally, I think on behalf of all of us, we take that away as that's the way that we are encouraged to approach the Vinaya, which so much care to the detail, so much deep appreciation for the teachings of the Buddha and the stories that have been carried for 2,500 years to tell us what the meaning was of these, each particular rule, and that those bhikshus and bhikshunis were just like us. And the way that you taught this course, it felt like they were here, like they lived yesterday, not in this distant, faraway land. Like, it really made it feel so relevant. And, okay, one more minute. So, finally, I want to also say to Venerable Thupten Chodron, a deep thank you for believing in us, monastics. And, I watched, before I came here, I watched a video of you in 1993 talking to the Dalai Lama about all the struggles that we have as Western monastics. And when I watched that video, it felt like that could have been recorded last week. But coming here, I see that slowly, over all those years since I was practically in diapers and picking my nose, you have been working His whole. And you told me what struck you in that meeting was that His Holiness Dalai Lama said, "You need to do this for yourselves." And so you did. You came out here alone, practically, with lay friends, some wild people in a cottage with whatever. I love that story. With all these different things they wanted. And you've made it happen. And you've set an example for all of us. So I'm out of time. And I'm just so grateful on behalf of all of us. And I also want to say, let's not wait 21 years for another Living Vinaya in the West course. Let's please make it happen sooner. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Okay, finally, on behalf of all the guests here, I have the privilege of offering two things. So these are sutras that all the guests here all took part in copying for Venerable Wu Yin and the Luminary Temple, and for Venerable Thupten Chodron and Sravasti Abbey. So I'm going to read the dedication for each of them. The sutra is called the Unfathomable Exalted Life and Transcendental Wisdom Sutra. This one is for Venerable Wu Yin, and it says in the dedication, "We dedicate all the merit gathered through writing these words of the Buddha for the long life of the most respected leader, Bhikshuni Wu Yin, and the faculty of Luminary Temple and Luminary International Buddhist Society. May their lives be long, stable, and all their Dharma wishes be immediately fulfilled. Their temple branches and the society flourish in order to preserve and spread the Buddha Dharma to benefit all sentient beings." This one is dedicated. We dedicate all the merits gathered from writing these words of the Buddha for the long life of Venerable Bhikshuni Thupten Chodron, the entire Sravasti Abbey Sangha and their community. May their lives be long, stable, and all their virtuous endeavors come to fruition. Due to their wholesome deeds of preserving and spreading the Buddha Dharma, may all sentient beings benefit.